Japan is gaining an unwanted reputation as a black hole for international child abductions. Alone of all the industrialised nations, it hasn't signed the Hague Convention, which mediates international custody disputes. So it's becoming notorious as a safe haven for parents who abduct their own children after a relationship has broken down. In Australia, a small but increasingly vocal group of so-called left-behind parents are suffering the pain of having their children held in a distant country against their wishes. Sarah Dingle reports.
After a separation, some parents will go to enormous lengths to secure access to their child.
Hello? Yeah, I contacted you, Hiroko, and you haven't replied to me.
Matthew Wyman has come to Japan.
I'm not threatening you. You just need to start. You need to start taking this seriously, Hiroko.
But the visit has turned ugly.
She hung up. She hung up.
There are no winners in domestic disputes, but in Matthew Wyman's case, his desperation runs deep.
We'll wait, Jake, all right? We'll wait outside, OK?
He says his two sons were abducted.
Around Christmas 2008, my wife informed me that she wanted to take the kids back to Japan for a holiday. And I was a little bit surprised because, I was thinking, we don't have that much money to go to Japan. After a few weeks, I got a phone call from her just literally telling me that I'm not coming back.
Matthew Wyman realised not only was the marriage over, but his role as a father was in jeopardy. He's returned to Japan with his own parents to try to spend time with his children.
In Australia, we have dual custody. We have shared custody. But in Japan, it's basically possession is 9/10 of the law. Whoever has the children keeps the children.
Stop child abduction! Stop child abduction! Stop child abduction!
In Japan, the issue of international left-behind parents is getting harder to ignore. At a recent protest in Tokyo, timed to coincide with the visit of US Vice President Joe Biden, parents said they'd had enough.
Just got to bring back our children. We have rights to see our children. Parents have rights to see their children.
Children's rights! Hague Convention! No loophole!
There is a feeling that Japan is a superior place culturally and in terms of its social mores, and that it's the ideal place for Japanese children or children perceived to be Japanese to live and be brought up.
Family lawyer Ian Kennedy has advised on a number of cases of abduction to Japan. Unlike more than 80 nations, Japan still has not signed the Hague Convention on International Child Abduction.
The principles that apply in most parts of the developed world in particular don't apply to Japan, and there's not the automatic ability for the Japanese courts to send the children back to their country of habitual residence under the convention.
Japan's failure to sign doesn't just hang over the heads of parents whose children are already gone. This Sydney father of two, who we can't identify, is trying to stop his Japanese ex-wife taking the children to Japan on holiday.
And then you do yours. The main fear is obviously, my kids returning to Japan, to the black hole of Tokyo, and not getting to see them, having no legal rights to see them. Their names will probably be changed, they'll probably move address, and I won't know where they are. And it'll be basically like a dead parent.
After separation, he realised his true predicament, where any short Japanese holiday could become forever.
The first step was to hide their passports, and I hid the passports and then found out that she had the Japanese passports. So then I put them on the airport watch list. The way the law works, the father normally loses out and she'll probably get a holiday, and I've got to pray that she'll return, but the chances are she won't.
He's now filming a documentary about a group of Australian left-behind parents with children in Japan to publicise their plight.
Mediation means compromise. You coming 50% and me coming 50%. So far I've come 99% and you've only, 1%.
I do think it's very important for the Australian public to be aware that Australian kids are being abducted to Japan.
Matthew Wyman did manage to spend time with his children during this visit. 7:30 contacted his ex-wife, who says they're still in mediation, and she rejects claims of abduction.
We worry very much, Jake, because we love you.
A spokesman for the Japanese consulate in Brisbane told 7:30 Japan is aware of Matthew Wyman's case and has advised him to seek assistance from the Australian Embassy in Tokyo. In May, after years of international pressure, Japan said it would prepare to sign the Hague Convention. But since then, there's been no action.
It would probably take about 18 months, I suppose, from signature to an inquiry by the Treaties Committee to the development of legislation. You'd have to assume you'd be looking at least that in Japan if they decide to accede to the convention.
How much confidence do you have that Japan will actually sign the Hague Convention?
Oh, look, I'm quietly confident that they will sign.
But in the meantime, the international loophole occupied by Japan is so large that even non-Japanese couples can be caught up in it. So this is the last time you saw him?
Yeah, this is the last visit, and that's the day we had to say goodbye.
This Australian woman's 10-year-old son has been held in Japan by his Australian father since the boy was 3. We can't show you her face because it could jeopardise when she's next allowed to see her child.
We went over, and while we were there, he took the passport, and I wasn't able to return with our son, and he's been holding him there ever since. I contacted the embassy first up because I really didn't know the complications it would cause. I just assumed we were Australian and they'd be able to help us. But they basically said there's nothing they can do and I need to get a lawyer in Japan.
You're not Japanese and your partner's not Japanese, and yet your child is being held in Japan against your wishes.
It just seems like a safe haven for parents that want to keep their child from the other parent.
We need to find out a politician who's prepared to stand up and speak, who believes in what we're saying.
For this group of left-behind parents, their meetings are their only source of support and comfort.
There's got to be something else you can do to touch the people.
And for most here, there's little hope in sight. The Attorney-General has revealed that whatever Japan does, their situation will not improve. If Japan signs the Hague Convention, is it your understanding that that will apply retrospectively to existing cases?
Unfortunately, no, is the answer to that. The obligations apply once the convention has been ratified, so it won't apply retrospectively, as I understand it, to existing cases.
It's just really sad that I've missed so much of his life. I have to just accept that I see my son once a year and basically wait until he's an adult and can make his own choices.
I've come to the realisation that they won't be returned to Australia. I have to accept that. And I have to remind my wife and her mother that please remember that they're not 100% Japanese, they're also 50% Australian.
Sarah Dingle with that report.